Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get the four-wheeler ready to do some spraying to keep the weeds under control and keep the driveways clean. We're going to bring you guys along. You'll have to pardon my voice. I have the dreaded cold bug that's flying around as the final hurrah before we start getting into the good summer months. We've had 2 or 3 days of rain, so we're kind of hunkered down in the buildings. I'm going to go get the quad from the lean-to over there where we store the hay, and then we'll get the sprayer put on. This is Charlie and I believe it's a 2003 Foreman ES, and I think this has a 420 in it. It's not the biggest, baddest machine, but it's just a handy tool. For reliability, it's hard to beat the Hondas. It always starts when you want it to. And we are running these real heavy-duty Rocktain tires, if I remember correctly. These are so heavy-duty that they'll actually run flat, which is pretty nice. We don't do like crazy off-roading stuff with it. It's just a simple old Honda four-wheeler. It's a utility tool when you don't want to drag out either a side-by-side or a pickup truck, like throwing square bales of hay, something like that. Pretty solid rig. It's got 1,170 miles on it, 238 hours. Obviously we're in neutral, but looks like we might be getting a temperature warning or an oil pressure light, so I'll have to check that out. This doesn't get a ton of use. Like I said, I think it's a 2003 maybe. You guys can correct me in the comments below. I don't even remember where the little tag is that tells you all about it. It's been so long since I've even thought about this thing. Just keeps running for us though. We like it. This is our little 15-gallon Country Way sprayer. It's just a 12 volt, and then we have a 12 volt auxiliary plug that pops out from underneath the seat with an inline fuse. Just works really well for this size of machine. Mounts down nicely. We have some pre-cut ratchet straps, and you just tie it down. It's just plain and simple. The rain's really coming down now, guys. Doesn't look like much out front, but man, is it noisy on the old steel roof. That's basically the full setup. We have a little 12 volt inline switch here, or you can even hear the pump click on. It's always a good sign when they clickety clack. You wouldn't really want your wand right here, right on your back in case it starts leaking. You do want to kind of respect the chemicals. Just ratchet straps on. It's quick and easy. And then like I said, we always have that 12 volt auxiliary on almost all of our machines with like a 10 or 12 amp fuse, whatever's rated for this. I can't quite remember. This is a situation I hope to rectify. This is an old style garden hose sprayer. We lost this little plastic cap. If I remember right, this should be like 7/8 MPT for your like standard garden hose. Might be mistaken on that. I'm gonna see what I can find up at the local Rural King where I bought this unit from. These are the chemicals I'm going to be using. I did some math off camera. You can see we're gonna go with 2.5 ounces per gallon, and then for my 15-gallon sprayer, it should be 37.5 ounces per 15-gallon tank, as you can see here. This is basically Roundup, as I understand it. And then we have a 2,4-D here. This was getting a little confusing, let's say, trying to calculate it per acre and stuff. So I just asked Google, and they said that 2.5 ounces seemed to be a good number. Since we're going to be mixing these together, we should be plenty hot. I don't want to just be dumping chemicals on the ground for the fun of it. but it is annoying when your driveway starts to get overtaken by weeds and things. It's been a couple of days. We have good weather finally for spraying. We're going to bring you along. We've got good blue skies, plenty of wind. We've got our Foreman all set up. I'm going to get some black mechanics gloves because I don't like playing around in the chemicals unnecessarily. We'll go over, get our cocktail mix going, and get to spraying. Gonna be riding side saddle at least till I get over to the main shop. Made it over to the wash pad. I'm gonna be topping my chemicals up here because we have this awesome shade tree. I did some bad math on these two jugs, so I scribbled that out. And we're just going to basically fill this all the way up. We need 37 ounces. It goes up to 32 ounces. Fill that up to the tippity top. One of those, and then fill our sprayer up to the top, and we're off to the races. Simple as that. Not going to get overly critical because we are mixing the two, so we should be plenty hot. I did have a viewer comment and ask what this backpack was. This is all my camera gear. It's just a Rural King special. I don't really care for the skull on it. It's a SOG. It looked plenty tough, and I like this MOLLE system on it if I want to add stuff or clip stuff on quick. Anyway, we're going to go ahead, get the sprayer filled up. We're all topped up. Time to hit the road. We'll start over in my driveway. This is pretty typical here. I like to try to get this stuff as early as I can. It always keeps encroaching, however. Get right up along the house. Just trying to keep the driveway nice and clean. I'll do around the trees, around the buildings, obviously, and I make it nicer for my neighbor who is older, who mows for me. So let's go ahead and get started. here on the Honda. We are done. I got everything done perfectly with 15 gallons. That's pretty good for the size of this property, I feel. Got the front of the house all done. Down each side, the landmarks around the cistern, the well cap, as you saw. Worked out pretty good. Around all of my autumn blaze trees. I was a little nervous putting it on these. Hopefully it doesn't kill them. I don't know. I'm definitely not a chemical expert by any means. Got all around the back shed, back of the house. The kiddie pool is for the ducks to swim in. They enjoy that in the hot summer months. I have some random knick-knacky stuff I need to get cleaned up here. Just a quick little tour of the property around the big mighty oak tree. This thing is just awesome. Much, much older than me. The house is 108 years old, and this oak tree at least has to be that much. This thing is gorgeous. I love it so much. I got around all the dragline buckets, as you can see. Always like to keep these going and clean. I really like these things. They built America. Not a lot of people know what they are. Around my landmarks over here. Got around the street sign. Around these couple of trees here. My neighbor mows all this. Very big shout out to him. I really appreciate that. Got around my boulder. That sucker weighs 7,800 pounds. It's a heck of a boulder. Around the big maple tree. And then right up here to the end of the road ditch. And around the telephone pole. And then I did the property line there, following that tree there, all the way down to the corner post, way down there. I always like to run about a gallon of water through this when you're all said and done. That way the harsher chemicals aren't just sitting here in your pump. I know they're built for it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and then we'll wrap up the video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the like button. It really helps out the channel, doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.